You're a comedian and you got canceled for a domestic assault joke.
Matt Rife is the most hated comedian in America right now. In the span of just a few weeks, Matt went from being one of the most popular stand-up comedians in the country with 18 million followers on TikTok to the laughingstock of the internet after he released his comedy special on Netflix and he peeved everyone off. Now, Matt's response to criticism has been questionable at best and career demolishing at worst. So today, I'm going to tell you how he got here, and I'm also going to be watching his infamous stand-up special so that I, the arbiter of comedy, can tell you whether or not it is as bad as everyone says it is. But before we do that, let's go all the way back to the beginning for Matt Rife. Matt grew up in the middle of nowhere in Ohio. Yuck. He started comedy at 14, citing Ricky Gervais and Dave Chappelle as his biggest influences.
But nobody wants that shit. That's borderline STD. That's not okay.
Okay, and here's a picture of him at 16 years old next to the GOAT, the John Cena of comedy. You know him, you love him, Jim Breuer. Now, for the next 10 years, Matt Rife would be seen more and more in the comedy space, on random TV shows, and finally on TikTok, where he would amass his gargantuan audience, mostly from TikToks, of his crowd work. Now, as he grew his audience, Matt's persona grew as a comedian and as a public figure. Matt's audience is known for being mostly women, and his major shtick is that he's hot, I guess.
I mean, people don't want to laugh at like physically attractive people. Like, you don't want to walk on stage and have people looking at your arms rather than listening to your jokes. I think it just makes me work that much harder on the material and the jokes that I'm trying to tell to get people to focus on the real show at hand.
Now, that video is from 3 months ago, and although a large part of the internet found Matt Rife to be a bit cringe, with a lot of people weighing in on their opinions when it came to Matt's face, didn't really do much to affect the massive success that he was having with his live shows around the globe. Right now, Matt is promoting his Problematic World Tour, where he's playing some pretty big stages. Radio City Music Hall is not exactly chopped liver for a guy like Matt. So, 2023 is going better than ever for the golden boy of comedy, and he receives every funny boy's dream, a Netflix special. And it's not just his special that everyone's talking about, it's also the conversation and discourse happening around it. This is the first time Matt has been in the spotlight on this kind of scale, and that means that nothing is off the table. Any promotion's good promotion, and Matt is going to use his looks and his funny jokes to try and be on the good side of the internet. Spoiler alert, he is not on the good side of the internet. Now, November 14th comes along and Variety puts out an interview with Matt to promote his new Netflix special called Natural Selection. Now, in this interview, Variety asks, was there anything you were nervous to discuss or worried would offend people? And when you bring up the word offensive, when you bring up the word woke, cancel, I mean, Matt Rife, the light bulbs start going off in his head.
And stop digging up people's old tweets and shit. Straight up. I think it's the most bitch-made thing you could possibly do.
This seems to be the cream of the crop for a lot of stand-up comedians these days. It's a very normal thing to complain about how you can't say anything anymore. And personally, although I feel like that's a good test of whether or not this comedian is still funny, some people really do buy into the fact that wokeness and cancel culture is killing the art of comedy rather than challenging it to maybe do better. But who gives a crap what I think about that? Let's hear what Matt thinks about him offending people with his comedy. Matt says, I don't really adhere to this whole sensitivity rumor in the comedy world that you can't say anything anymore. That's bullshit. You can say whatever you want. Now, you have to prepare for repercussions, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how you sleep at night. This is a surprising response from Matt for me, because I'd expect him to talk about how it's become so hard and people are so sensitive, but he's making a good point here that people don't really get canceled. If we look at the biggest canceled comedian in the world lately, a lot of people's minds go straight to Dave Chappelle. And if you look at his career, you look at the numbers he's pulling, you look at the amount of people that show up to his shows, I wouldn't exactly say he's canceled. But again, who cares what I say? Let's see what Matt has to say. He says, the way I look at it is, as a comedian, everything comes down to intent. I like dark humor. I don't believe there's anything you can't talk about if you do it correctly, in the right way, at the right time. And I can kind of respect that answer, honestly. And I know that Matt has different intentions when giving that answer as the kind of comedian he is versus the way that I see it. But we come down to the same basic conclusion that you shouldn't let cancel culture affect the kind of jokes you tell. If you're making a joke that is too offensive for the audience that you're talking to, then you're doing too much. The whole point is to appeal to that audience and make them laugh at you. Being a comedian is about what you can do for other people. It's not about like how edgy your audience is. So if you can toe that line, then you are doing it right. Especially lately, the concept of offending the audience and the haters online is what drives a lot of Matt's humor. You can tell that he hates nothing more than the people who spend all day making fun of him, just like me.
You sort of make fun of cancel culture and social media.
You have to.
But the irony is you're a social media sensation. Like, we wouldn't know who you are without social media.
Yeah.
And as we'll see later, he pretends like the hate really doesn't get to him. It does. It really does. Now, Variety also asked Matt Rife how TikTok has impacted his career, and he said this: I mean, the name of this game is exposure at this point. Stand-up isn't about being funny. Rarely do the funniest comedians get the recognition they deserve. Boy, I wonder if this one's going to bite him in the ass. But when Variety asks him about his demographic online, he had this to say: one of the biggest misconceptions of things I get ridiculed online for is people are like, oh, he only has a female fan base. In the beginning, yes, because I did blow up on TikTok, which is very female dominant. So I get that perspective. But when you come to the shows, I mean, it's 50-50. It's couples coming out. It's a group of dudes who are coming. And that's one thing I wanted to tackle in this special, was showing people that despite what you think about me online, I don't pander my career to women. I would argue this special is way more for guys. So what happened when Matt Rife's comedy special came out on Netflix? Well, on November 21st, an article from Glamour came out, and it might give you some insight into how it went down. Matt Rife said his Netflix special is for guys. He opened with a domestic violence joke. This is going to be good. Rife begins his hour-long set, which was filmed in Washington, D.C., with a joke that uses domestic violence as its punchline. And rather than explaining to you what the joke is, I'm just going to play it so you can come to your own conclusions about it.
I've only been to Baltimore one time. I ate lunch there, and the hostess who seats you at the restaurant had a black eye. A full black eye. It wasn't like, what happened? And my boy who I was with was like, yeah, I feel bad for her, man. I feel like they should put her in the kitchen or something where nobody has to see her face, you know? And I was like, yeah, but I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye. Testing the water, seeing if y'all are gonna be fun or not.
Yes, this is exactly how the special starts, and to my surprise, the joke is even less funny than it reads on paper. There are so many off-putting things in this clip that it's hard to even tackle the joke as a whole. The fact that he points out that she has a black eye and the audience laughs as if that's part of the joke and not just setting up for the end.
The hostess who seats you at the restaurant had a black eye.
And also just how awful the delivery of the punchline was. The way he says, oh, maybe if you could cook, you wouldn't have that black eye. I could see it from a mile away, and you still missed heavily. Now, today I do want to show a lot more clips from the show, but I don't want Matt to take me to comedy court, so I'll sprinkle in some lower quality clips of the special from time to time as I show you what I really thought about Matt Rife's new comedy special, Natural Selection. So the conversation starts stirring online with a lot of people debating over whether or not this was offensive, but mostly about whether or not the joke itself was even funny. Because for a lot of people who are level-headed, normal, they look at a joke that tries to be offensive and they say, oh, was the joke that it was offensive, or wait, is it funny because it's offensive? And amongst the chatter, Matt decides that he's going to play into the controversy and see if he can get people really talking about the hottest boy in Hollywood or Ohio or whatever. How will the man who is known for his crowd work respond to a crowd of angry internet commenters? Well, Matt posted an Instagram story that said, "If you've ever been offended by a joke I've told, here's a link to my official apology." And if you click the link, you're redirected to a website that sells helmets for people with special needs. It's really clever, Matt. Yeah, you totally got everyone with that one, man. And this legendary joke that Matt Rife pulled off to promote his comedy special really got me thinking about the philosophy around dark comedy, around edgy jokes. Matt gives us a great example that stems from the question, is a joke funny because it's offensive? Is dark comedy and edgy humor an art that is amplified from how offended you can make your audience? Are you good at edgy comedy if you say something more offensive than another comedian? Is the humor of a joke rooted in how politically incorrect it is? Apparently Matt thinks so, because his idea of funny is, if you're offended, it's because you have special needs. I mean, give me front row tickets to Radio City Music Hall on the Problematic World Tour, because I can't get enough of this freak. Now, the fallout from this is doing exactly what Matt wanted it to do, which is making everyone on the internet hate him, I guess. Literally in the past week, he has become the most hated person online, and today we're going to see why. Is his special as funny as he makes it out to be, or do we think that Matt might be losing his time in the spotlight already? Well, I watched the whole thing, and I have some opinions. The first thing I'll say is that I think if you have a group of friends who are interested in a good Netflix hate watch, this is definitely a top pick for me. I practically rolled my eyes around my head just dozens and dozens of times while watching maybe the most unlikable guy. That's it. He's just the most unlikable guy. If you guys have been watching me for some time, you know that I have a bit of a history giving my takes on bad comedy specials, specifically the comedy of maybe the greatest hated comedian there is, a man by the name of Brendan Schaub, the Gringo Poppy. That was kind of like Tucker Carlson-esque. Brendan Schaub, the Gringo Poppy. If you're looking for an insane double feature that will ruin your day, pair those two bad boys back to back. Gringo Poppy, Natural Selection, pop the DVDs in. Your abs are gonna hurt from the gut-busting laughter. Your abs are gonna hurt from the gut-busting laughter. So with that, I want to tell you how I feel about Matt Rife's special, and if it is possibly worse than the woke Brendan Schaub. Matt Rife's special takes off like a rocket ship in a swamp, with not only his classic domestic abuse joke that everyone loves so much, but also with a string of jokes around everyone's favorite hobby, astrology.
If I hear one more person blame how their life is going on Mercury, I will kill you myself. Do you understand?
Matt really gives the men something to belly laugh at with some of the most cringe-inducing jokes around how much he hates astrology and crystals, like a man does. Astrology and crystals like a man does.
This crystal shit is getting out of control. Ladies, put the fucking pebbles down, okay?
Swear to you, man, the biggest issue with Crystal Girls is the fact that it's their entire personality, and they won't shut up about it.
Where are my boys at? Don't you guys hate when women look up their horoscopes? I want to be doing horonoscopes. You guys know the classic saying, the only thing worse than someone who is obsessed with zodiac signs and astrology is the guy who can't stop yelling about how dumb he thinks those people are.
I am so tired of you ladies blaming your poor decision-making skills on planets that don't even know you.
Matt, it's not 2015. It's not edgy or cool to hear you say, oh, you think the stars can tell us who you're gonna fall in love with? You like crystals? That's funny. You think rocks can tell you about the future? You think the rock can tell you about the future? Dumb woman, dumb laugh at the dumb woman.
Get this through your head. Astrology is not this magical life guideline that predetermines your future in the stars. No, none of that. Your future is dependent by your own thoughts, opinions, and actions. You are in complete control of how your future turns out. It's not up here. It's in here the whole time. It's up to you.
But let's dig our claws in. Matt continues to be the worst guy ever by talking about his obsession of an even worse guy, John Lennon. Matt has a tattoo of John Lennon that he talks about and praises on stage only minutes after making a domestic abuse joke. Imagine all the people cringing at that. That was a Beatles joke. Imagine all the people cringing at that. Now, Matt brings up young people only for him to transition into the classic joke of, oh man, like in young people.
I fucking hate young people, dude. I really do.
Oh, don't even get me started on young people. Oh, I hate young people. Oh, cue the cheering. Cheer for me. Cheer for me. What's more relatable than hating on astrology people? The youth. Young people, I guess. That's funny.
There's really no middle ground. 'Cause I hate young people and I fucking love old people.
All right, Matt. That's funny. This is what happens when a crowd work comedian tries to tell normal jokes on stage. This is what you get. But let me take a pit stop to tell you what I hate more than anything else in this entire special, and that is the way Matt talks when he's doing his stand-up. I have never seen a Midwest white boy code switch harder on stage than Matt mother effing Rife.
Fuck being somebody's first. You ever be somebody's last? That's a flex, dude. Oh my goodness.
Matt cannot help but consistently and heavily talk to his audience with a cringe-inducing black accent that only gets worse as the show goes on.
They call me the Trim Reaper, dog. I'm just out here snatching souls, you know what I mean?
And if you're kind of weary, hey, maybe that's just like how he talks. I know he grew up in Ohio, but maybe this is just how they talk in Ohio. I'm going to show you a couple comparisons of how Matt talks in his comedy special versus in real life when he's just being interviewed.
Like, she gonna have to chill for a couple centuries outside these gates, man.
An ideal week of training, I would say Monday we start with a push day. We do chest and tries.
Like, what kind of Christian wakes up to read the Bible every morning when last night all you wanted me to do was lick your butt?
Tuesday, pull day, back and biceps. Wednesday, shoulders. Thursday, legs.
You gotta lay down some ground rules. You know, you gotta let these ghosts know they're not safe in your house.
Ouch. Even better, Matt must believe that using this voice allows him to tell really lame race-based jokes that white people just love to laugh at.
Just me and 12 of the biggest black dudes you've ever seen. 12 black dudes ain't afraid of nothing. Except for people dressed like ghosts.
There's nothing a white person loves more than a white comedian that makes them feel like it's okay to laugh at people of color. Hey, hands up before the anti-woke police get to me. I'm not trying to say that white people should be banished from telling jokes about non-white people. Thank you. But if you're gonna do it, Matt, please, for the love of white Jesus, make the jokes funny. Please. I'm asking for one goddamn requirement, but no. Matt comes out of the gate swinging with a joke about how Michael Jackson wasn't actually black.
I hate being young, dude. I don't know nothing. I'm 28. I don't even know for sure that Michael Jackson was black.
Where'd you get that joke from, Matt? It's 2023. Beat it. It's pretty good, right? That's funny. Wait a minute. That's funny. That's funny. Very often, Matt tries to build up to a joke by getting serious and like leveling with the audience for a second. This is a very normal tactic in stand-up to slow down the pacing of your delivery and sort of calm the audience down before hitting them across the face with a gut-busting freaking quip. But when Matt Rife does this, you immediately get the sense that he's just setting up a lame joke, and it comes off as super fake and weird and uncomfortable because no one's laughing because it's supposed to be serious, but you can tell that he thinks whatever he's going to say is about to be really funny. I don't know if I'm alone here, but I'm going to play some clips so you can see for yourself.
That used to be my favorite part about visiting my great-grandmother at the hospice center she was at for her remaining years when I was a teenager. She's at that facility where they take care of you for like your remaining time. And my mom would drop us off for like 3 or 4 hours at a time. which is great. Obviously, I want to spend time with my grandma, but my grandma also had dementia. So, like...
Also, Matt randomly does like an Aziz Ansari impression in the middle of the special. Just for no reason. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
You telling me not only is there a monster in my room, but maybe he's gay?
Okay, Matt continues to also have this quirky little interest that he has with autistic people while he tells a joke about how older women are more likely to have kids with special needs, which is a weird topic that comes around like multiple times in the show.
Like, the older you get, like, don't the odds start to go up, right, of your kid being first to lunch, we'll call it. First with my nephew, Chase. He's a teenager now, but he's autistic as fuck. He was special needs, and he had he had a dick on him, man.
Oh, this autistic friend I had when I was younger had a huge autistic boy penis.
It's like, great, yeah, you came and I got cerebral palsy. Awesome, yeah.
Oh, cerebral palsy. That's funny. That's a funny thing to make a joke about. Wait a minute, you're offended? You look offended? That means it's working. That means I'm funny. Yeah, I think that's how it works. I think that's how it works.
I paid for this meet and greet. Where your dad at?
I think this is a sign. This is a sign that this video is going to get way too long if I don't hurry up. But please let me know in the comments if there's other comedians that you think I should take a look at in the same way, because it pains me. It pains me to watch bad comedy, but at the same time, I love doing it for content, and I will do it for content all day long, every day long. I really do hope that Matt gets offended from this video though, just so I am proven to be the better comedian. He also weirdly has a lot of jokes about monsters, like creepy crawly monsters that you'd be afraid of when you're in 3rd grade. Like, he literally sounds like an elementary schooler trying to do a stand-up special where he's like, man, you guys know how scary it is to run to your bed when the lights are out in your room and you have to jump over the little goblin hiding under your bed.
One of my biggest beliefs is in ghosts and monsters. I told y'all monsters were real. I do not mess with ghosts, man. The ghost of a child. I'll tell you what's in there. Ghosts and monsters. I do not mess with ghosts, man.
It almost reminds me of Jay-Z in Monster, with the way he's like, goblins, ghouls, vampires, goblins.
Godzilla, King Kong, Loch Ness, goblin, ghoul, a zombie with no...
Matt also sets up this whole joke about a clown by explaining to the audience who Pennywise is from the classic Stephen King novel, It. You guys know that clown? The most popular one? Well, Bozo, I guess. Bozo the clown is probably the most popular one. Oh, Matt also makes a really awesome comment during the special where he says that the crowd would be laughing more if there were more guys in the crowd, which is always a really good sign when you're trying to do stand-up comedy.
I'm realizing right now I need more guy fans. That would help a lot. If this room was 70% dudes the way it is women, this joke would have been like,
You just have to tell them that the jokes would be funnier if they weren't there. That'll make them giggle. That'll make them giggle. Then Matt gets into this crazy part of his special where he starts talking about the haters. It's hater time. Let's talk about the haters.
Sit at home all day trying to cancel people or say mean comments because their life sucks so fucking bad. They can't possibly imagine a life of misery by themselves, so they have to try to drag other people down by leaving mean comments and saying rude stuff.
There is no better way to own the haters than to devote a huge part of your comedy set to the haters, where you specifically try making fun of the haters, but then you end up just looking like your butt hurt that you're being hated by the haters.
I know as a public figure, I'm supposed to be like the bigger person and take the high road, but fucking kill yourself, dude. That goes for any internet shit talker out there, man.
There is nothing that will make your audience love you more than telling your haters to kill themselves. Ha 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 ha. If Matt was open and honest and talked about his issues with personal image and self-consciousness as a good-looking white guy, you would not know it from this special. You would not know that he has any of those struggles or any struggles at all, actually. He's kind of the perfect guy. Matt does have a unique opportunity to touch on subjects that make sense coming from a guy like him. But it's almost like he wants to stray away from his identity as much as he can during his stand-up, so you'd never know anything that he actually struggles with personally. I watched a really interesting TikTok from someone explaining what Matt could be doing with his audience versus the way that he uses them now.
There's actually so much material there, resurfacing interviews of him feeling insecure about his looks, and now that he feels really famous for his looks, he probably has imposter syndrome and feels really insecure. Those are some great things to make jokes about with a mostly women audience. Sassy men are in. It's a sassy man apocalypse. Buki, lean into it. This strategy was weird. It feels like it came from a wounded space, but I do think his jokes could change to a reflection about like what even made him feel like he needed to do this in the first place.
There is so much more discourse on Matt Rife the more popular he becomes these past couple weeks. And after I finish up talking about this heap of trash that is the Netflix Natural Selection special, I will go through some more conversations that have been happening around Matt Rife, because this poor guy has been the internet's target this past month, and we couldn't possibly have more gossip on this silly buffoon. Now, one of Matt's biggest jokes in this entire special is one where he repeatedly makes fun of someone for their extreme obesity. Ha 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 ha.
No disrespect, just an accurate detail of the story. The dad was no less than, I'd say, 425 pounds. Like, he was a big dude.
Matt will make sure that you know he's not trying to disrespect this person for being fat. Seriously, no disrespect. No disrespect. But then he continues to make joke after joke after joke about their weight. And the joke is just that they're fat.
What do you think's impeding my exit more? My bag? Or fucking Timon and Pumbaa right next to me?
That's funny. That's a good joke. This seems to be Matt's default when it comes to making a joke about the situation. It's just funny because they're fat. That's good. I'm surprised no one's come up with that one yet. Matt's stand-up special here is everything that is unfunny about traditional comedy in 2023. We have been conditioned to believe that people like Matt are clever, charismatic, interesting, good in front of an audience, when the comedy that Matt actually brings to the table in Natural Selection, a Netflix original comedy special, is a slop and slew of unfunny half-baked jokes that take shots at people who are less successful, less good-looking, and less manly than himself. Basically, he just keeps making fat jokes over and over again. That's funny.
Fathom a reality where people can talk to you as disrespectful as they want without facing any physical consequences. That drives me absolutely insane, man. And I know as a public figure, I'm supposed to be like the bigger person and take the high road, but fucking kill yourself, dude. That goes for any internet shit talker out there, man. And I know that's a harsh thing to say to somebody, but the way I see it, nobody who's a good person and actually contributes anything positive to society is ever going to go out of their way to leave a negative comment under something you have been so brave as to create and share with the rest of the world. And we just don't need people like that around. Sorry. It's just insane, the lengths people will go to talk shit on the internet, man. Earlier this year, we were flying from Los Angeles.
And then he immediately has the gall, the gumption, to begin the final act of his show, which is basically Matt just like whining about internet trolls for 15 minutes straight. And he's not really dunking on like loser incels online who aren't as cool as him, but he just shows everyone how much his haters like really make him mad. But he's really just showing all of his haters just how mad they actually make him in person. So it feels like their comments are affecting him in the real world.
the lengths people will go to argue about shit that has nothing to do with them on the internet. It's impressive, man, because
it really gets to the point that this special literally sounds like Matt venting to his therapist with a laugh track on top of it.
everybody wants to get their lick in, right? Because the internet is full of people who have negativity towards themselves that they have to project onto other people. So this is their opportunity, because that's your punishment. If you ever get in trouble on the internet, your punishment is that people can say anything they want to you. Anything, even if it's way worse than what you said to get in trouble in the first place, man. It's impressive.
And that's when I think the facade of who Matt is really fades, because he allows people to see what is underneath the skin of this Frankenstein-looking ghoul when you really hurt his feelings and you really offend him.
You can talk your shit to me online as much as you want. Say whatever mean, hurtful things you want to say to try to hurt my feelings, but just know, when I hit you harder than you hit me first, don't act like you're the fucking victim, okay? That's my biggest pet peeve in the entire internet.
The offender gets offended hard. But when you think that Matt is all out of complaints, he gets around to the final joke of the special. And I feel like the joke you end on in a special is really what people carry home with them at the end of a long night of laughs. The best comedy specials have a legendary story right at the end to drop the mic and have everyone just go nuts. Every comedian chooses their big hitter for the end of the show, and Matt is not the exception here, because he chooses to tell one final story, which is about a Twitter fight that he got into online. I wish I was joking, but we're talking about Matt Rife here. Not a lot of joking to be had with this guy. Matt begins this insane rant at the end of his set about how he believes he is right in this insane Twitter argument about whether or not you can put your bag under your legs if there's not enough room under your seat, or if your backpack's too big, or if you need to have it under the seat of the airplane.
She saw my bag under my legs, and she goes, Both know that's a stupid rule. It's not affecting anything. Hundreds on hundreds on hundreds of strangers start filling my timeline with the angriest tweets. People will just start throwing out their own wild scenarios that have nothing to do with what you're even talking about, just so they seem justified. Saying meaner and meaner and meaner things, expecting no consequences, and I didn't really care.
If you sound confused, if you feel confused, you're feeling right. Now, I hear this debate, should my bag be able to go under my legs and this and that, and I say snore. We snore. Who cares? Or who gives a shit? Just listen to what the flight attendant says, because chances are you don't know why regulations and guidelines are put in place for human flight when we go into the sky. There were multiple times where I had to legitimately pause the special to take a breath because of how riled up Matt got about this airplane debate. And usually when you tell a story on stage, it has characters, it has dialogue, it has the normal beats that you have when trying to tell an interesting story. But Matt decides to just toss that shit out the window, and he decides that he's going to tell this story like a frat bro trying to tell his friends about how he dunked on some liberal loser on Twitter.
She, by herself, probably tweeted me like 60 to 70 times. The last tweet I just couldn't let slide, man. The last thing she said to me was, I don't understand why you have to be such an insubordinate, crybaby little bitch. Should I just have blocked her? But I was so sick of being ganged up on 1v700. She was being very mean. She started it. I'm a nice person, man. I never want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I fucking will. It had nothing to do with her, man. All I wanted to do was complain about my backpack.
Literally on stage in front of hundreds of people, just explaining the tweets back and forth from him to these random people. Literally random people who respond to his tweets. And now he's months later talking about this on Netflix on his biggest special. I'm baffled. This gets to the point where he makes an entire joke out of someone's weight. Once again, because they disagreed with him on Twitter.
Just based off of her profile photo, she was a heavier set woman. All I said, had you not been taking up 2 seats, there would have been room. He's body shaming me. Cancel Matt Rife. Bitch, you can't cancel me. I'm not your gym membership. What the fuck else I do there? And now I'm this bitch's 13th reason. Nah, fuck that. You can count reasons, but not calories. Get the fuck out of my face, dude. What if word gets back to her that you're still making fun of her weight and it affects her so severely she does something drastic, like hangs herself? How would that make you feel? How'd she get up there?
Boom. Roasted. Get owned. Epic Twitter moment. But could it get more epic? I think so. Because Matt decides to hit a home run to end his special with the most insane, delusional, embarrassing mic drop moment that I have ever seen in stand-up comedy. Matt Rife, TikTok crowd work expert, leaves the stage with this.
Nobody believed in me, man. And if I let that affect how I respected my own thoughts and ideas, I wouldn't be doing a Netflix special at Constitution Hall in my favorite city in the entire country. Well, what do I know? I only do crowd work, right?
So that was the special. Well, besides the Marvel Studios mid-credit scene where he once again code switches super hard for the only black family in the entire crowd. And you can tell that Matt has this like white boy like confidence where he thinks that his charisma gives him the pass to talk to people of color the way he does.
Black people, thank y'all. I think it's just y'all. Oh, dude. I thought for sure I had a more diverse fan base.
He thinks he can like bro up and be everyone's like favorite white boy, but in reality he's that guy that everyone rolls their eyes at when he rolls up to the function. I don't know how there was so much cringe packed into one comedy special, but surprisingly enough, that wasn't even everything I took notes on in this special. That was like a little bit of it. But let's get to the last part of the video, which is the fallout from this special, Matt's comments online, and his horrible botched face job. Matt somehow got himself into every possible dunk online in the past week, so let's try to make it concise. Once the special dropped, everyone started having their takes on Matt. This one talk show makes a great point about how Matt is able to dodge a controversy like this, even with the huge amount of hate that he's receiving.
He's the perfect person to not apologize because comedians have been complaining for years now, saying, you know what? Cancel culture is killing our craft. And if there's one person who can stand 10 toes down and say, I'm not apologizing, is a young white male.
Wow, that's an excellent point. I watched the special. I think he's garbage. And
yeah, but that's usually
that's my opinion. He sells out stadiums because he's a TikTok star. I know he's got a tour right now. Let's see if he gets a second tour or if he gets a second special, because that's to me the real test.
Yeah.
You know, his show is called Natural Selection. I think he's going to be naturally selected by nature to disappear. I don't think he's going to last.
But a lot of conversations were had around Matt's physical self too. The discourse over whether or not Matt Rife had plastic surgery is an interesting one because it goes even further than you might expect.
Biggest lie you've ever read about yourself?
That I've had plastic surgery. That's the funniest thing in the entire world to me because puberty hit me so late. Like I didn't look like this until I was like 23.
Oh, so they thought your glow up was
Oh my god, everyone's like, oh, he's got cheek fillers, he's got his lips done.
That's hilarious.
Whatever jawline surgery is a thing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry, you need surgery to look like that.
Matt actually got into some beef with a plastic surgeon who posted something alluding to doing work on Matt's face as a joke. It was like supposed to be a funny TikTok, and there's no evidence to suggest it's true, except that Matt commented on the reel saying lying about medical history is illegal. Just FYI. Yeah, Matt. Totally, bro. Kick his ass, dude. People come on Twitter posting about how Matt looked like before he got surgery on his jaw and veneers, and I'm no body shamer. You guys know that. I'm not here to add fuel to the fire, even though I'm kind of doing that right now, exactly. But I thought I'd point out that the conversation continues to bellow. Bellow. That's a new word. But let's dive into even more insane clips. I feel like I could make a whole ass documentary on this guy with just how interesting all his quirks are. But I have to show you this clip. What the hell? But I have to show you this freaking clip of Matt Rife on Tana Mongeau's podcast, where he has a really intellectual take on the haters.
Here's a very humbling experience that epiphany that I've had recently. Because so many fucking people hate me for really no reason. And it really made me realize that like people only hate somebody they're jealous of. And I've been guilty of hating people, and when I really sat back and thought about it, it was because I was jealous of where that person was in their life. I felt like maybe they got an opportunity that I should have gotten.
That was a really, really good, well-rounded answer. I'm trying to wrap my head around. Do you think people who hate Osama bin Laden are jealous of him?
Yeah. And this kind of just brings more and more internet trolls to the surface, because everyone wants to get their turn beating up on the funny looking guy. And I feel like the reason why you find it so hard to feel bad for people like Matt Rife is because he constantly contradicts the way he feels about people who hate on him with the way that he treats other people online. There's nothing funnier than dunking on the guy who thinks that he is above it. And that's Matt's issue. He doesn't see himself as a mere mortal among the people, or at least he doesn't want to. Matt is above the hate, above the insults, the roasts, everything he experiences online, because he doesn't care. Or does he? But let's talk about the worst of the worst. What is the bottom of the barrel in the Matt Rife lore that we still need to see before this thing is over? Well, Matt happened to be on a very popular TV show called Wild 'N Out, an MTV show game show thing that Nick Cannon hosted for a trillion years. Now, prepare to cringe when you watch the way that Matt treats Zendaya when she is a guest on the show. Don't say I didn't warn you about the cringe.
You're mixed. I want to be black. Let's make a lifestyle. Spit that water out so I can get your number, please. I didn't touch her. She can handle herself. Don't be touching on her like that. She too young. She's 18. He's 19. So, he got acne in his fingernails dirty.
The question is, will Matt Rife find this video, get super offended, and try to take it down any way he can? Or is he going to man up and laugh? You gotta laugh. If you're offended, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. So I guess that is all of Matt Rife in a painful 30-minute package for you. Who knows if you made it to the end? You probably didn't, because your ears most likely bled off after Matt told the 4th autistic joke in his special. Anyways, let me know if you guys want me to do more deep dives on these weird guys. I'm going to start making less videos as often so I can make my videos more thought out, more fun for me to write and shoot and put together, because I got so bored. I don't need every video to be like a goddamn Mr. Beast production, but I miss making funny videos. I want to make some funny stuff. I feel like I'm conditioned to always just making videos as fast as I can, and then I realized, oh wait, this isn't fun anymore. So we're going to do something else. I have a lot of good ideas for 2024. I just came up with a crazy idea yesterday. Crazy idea I'm doing. This year sucked, but maybe 2024 is my year. Yeah, my year. That sounds nice. My year. If you like this video, please check out my other channels. I posted a funny video a couple weeks ago on my main channel last month. I'm going to be posting on He Said Us very soon, very often. And my band Queef Jerky put out our hit single called Liver, which is a new era of music. Yeah, I like that. A new era of music. Lots to be excited about, and I am grateful for those of you who are still here, still supporting the movement, and ready for some shit to happen. If you're still here, leave a comment, a like, leave whatever you want. Say what's up. Give the video to someone else. Share it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next awful Netflix special. Shrug.